Hey, this is Mark from Faith on Tap. We may be hard-pressed to find anyone who would say that the world was more positive and that all humans have the world's best interest in mind. Some of us may go as far to use the word evil. But what does that mean? And how did humans find their way into doing evil?
So we've always had free will, but we weren't tempted with evil until evil manifested itself.
The conversation becomes biblical pretty quickly, and there was no shortage of interpretations.
We weren't to eat off the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, so we had no knowledge of good or evil. We were in this neutral goodness state when it was delineated good to evil, with the disobedience being the evil and obedience to God being the good. That's when we chose differently.
But even without framing the question of evil in a biblical context, it seems clear that humans have an intrinsic sense of right or wrong, even without God.
Because it just goes back to the creation story. We are all created in the image of God, and so we all have this understanding of godliness and ungodliness inherent in us. And so people look at the Holocausts during the 1940s in Germany, and how many Jews and Russians and how many people lost their lives, and that was brutal. But how many cows lose their life every year in America for food? That's not necessarily genocide or a Holocaust. And so we have this innate understanding that there is value to human beings, and when human beings are wronged in some way, there's an inherent understanding that this is right, this is wrong, this is morally evil, this is morally good.
A heavy discussion with lots more to say today, here on Faith on Tap. We are at NewSylum Brewing in Newtown, Connecticut. What beer are you drinking today?
Beautiful Consequent. They always pour these in a very short glass, which saddens me.
It looks like a brandy glass.
It does. It should be in a pint. I'm old school.
How would you rate it?
I give that a solid 8. It's a good blend. For a hazy IPA, it's very good, very crisp.
I had a Smoke 'em Up. I think you're supposed to say smoke 'em up. It's a interesting beer called a smoked lager with dark malts. It's very stout-esque. I like it a lot. Liz even liked it, and she hates stouts, but she didn't have that. Now, she loves stouts. She doesn't like any other beer. What did you have?
I had a blueberry cider. It was fine.
I'm sorry, I fell asleep. What did you have?
I don't remember. Something about a cider.
The Wrath of Mark.
Our first question tonight is going to be, we're going to stay with a spiritual bent on it. Does evil exist? And
that's a good one.
I do like the question. I'm going to be more interested in what people think evil is. I don't think anyone's going to say Satan. Let's talk about mean people. That's my idea. What do you think?
Yeah, they're going to define it as people who behave differently than they want them to behave. Then it's not going to be something spiritual.
I'm holding out hope that the Holy Spirit will guide me to the spiritual people here, and we're going to get a breakdown of evil as it exists in the world under the realm of Satan, but Christ has come in now and overcome the world.
So principalities and powers of the air.
All that good stuff. Yeah.
So there'll be people who will be now saved after tonight, you're saying?
That's why we're here, isn't it?
All right, let's do it. And tell me your name?
Chris.
Chris, this is Mark. Does evil exist?
Of course evil exists. I think that's a part of human nature. You can't have the yin without the yang. I think that's just an inherent part of who we are as a society. I feel like nobody is inherently good or inherently evil.
Evil comes from the human itself?
Yeah, it's not an external force. I feel like it's a product of the human consciousness and the human existence.
Well, how does evil, evil emanates from oneself?
Yeah, from within. I think that even if you compare like Gandhi and all these people who are, it's even Buddha, it's the yin and the yang, it's them. I think they were so prolific was the fact that they were able to combat evil in such an effective way, but I feel like it's something that everybody struggles with. But it's evil is definitely a byproduct of the human consciousness. It's not an inherent energy or anything within the universe. It's something that we created and we deal with.
So how does someone become evil?
Yeah, it's a byproduct of life. It's also a benefit that they see through evil.
But two people could have the same experience and one may not become evil. Why would that person become evil?
Because they can see the benefit with evil. It's something that we all fight with, and if you cave into evil within, then you can, I don't want to get political, but you can obviously
Be
see
political. It's okay.
you can see with politics that the more by definition evil you become, you can make a lot of money. Most very, very rich billionaires are not people that were inherently nice their entire life, I feel like, but
You can't be a nice billionaire,
it's very difficult.
but it's possible.
I doubt it. No,
So it's not possible.
I don't think it is possible.
Okay.
Because if you were a truly nice person, then would you really be a billionaire? Would your wealth go elsewhere to help support other causes?
Unless you did nice things with the money, I suppose.
Yeah.
Do you want to answer it differently?
No, I mean,
But if you do, what's your name?
my name is Jesus.
Jesus. Okay. So does evil exist?
It does.
And what does evil look like to you?
Whatever's not for the common good. So whatever's not for the well-being of us humans.
Who decides what's good?
That is tricky. I guess that what is beneficial for us as humans, what benefits the majority, I guess.
So morality is based on the majority of what people in a group say. So if a whole group, I'm not trying to trick you,
I
but
think that's morality is based
so if,
on-
if a group of people felt it's okay to cannibalize people, if you're in a group, that's morally okay.
I feel like from that society standpoint, yeah.
I guess that from the point of view of society, I mean, if you're starving, yeah.
And what if that group, and I'm not trying to trick you up, I'm just want to expand that little, what if that group thought it's okay to have child sacrifices?
That did happen. But yes, I mean,
So that's okay.
From the system.
right, from the norm, yeah.
If you're going to be consistent, you'd have to be.
Correct. That's exactly correct. Like if it's from the society point, that's the whole point.
That's fair. That's okay.
Point. So the evil is based on the societal.
Well, I'll
Correct.
take the mic and
no.
No, I mean,
evil based on what societal norms are.
I do think so.
You have to
Okay.
base that if you're coming from the aspect of like evil is based off the human consciousness as a society, then evil must be based off those norms that we've made as a society.
Does evil exist? And as you answer that, please tell me your name, and then you can launch into your answer.
Would you like to answer that? What's the question?
Does evil exist?
You betcha.
And your name, sir?
Don.
Who?
Don.
Don. So tell me, why do you think that, Don?
Because I know it.
How?
Oh, I met many evil people in my lifetime.
And how do you deal with those evil people?
I ignore them.
Do you?
You betcha.
And is that your secret to a long, happy life? Ignore the evil people?
Absolutely.
You sir are awesome. I must admit. So let me ask you, what is like the worst person you've ever met that you just had to walk away from?
It's a good question. I can't recall.
Good, because you forgot all about them already. Thank you, sir. Anyone else like to answer that question? Name?
My name is Debbie.
Debbie. Nice to meet you,
And-
Debbie. A little bit closer.
A little bit closer. I would say that good to evil to me are more of a karma issue.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I believe in true evil I don't believe in the devil evil for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I believe in negative energy and positive energy that we all exhibit in this world. And I think that sometimes some people have that negative energy that is just rises to the top and that positive energy that sinks all the way to the bottom. So
Do you think that there's a source of this negative energy and positive energy that we all seem to share somehow?
can you define source? Like I'm a little
Like an originator, like something that, okay, this is where good energy comes from. This is where bad energy comes from. Or is it a very individualistic thing for you?
No, sometimes I think that negative energy might be something that is built up through the history of, I want to say, I do feel that the negative energy is people driven, not animal driven. So I do think that maybe that negative energy that is in the universe has accumulated, so it's a cumulative thing. So I don't think it's always necessarily from one person.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So it's kind of we all share a little piece of it, and it's a building of a movement or
Yeah.
motion of energy.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
that would be probably the best philosophy I would describe, that it's something that can be negative energy that is like historical in context, that is
So like
where does that
experience
energy
the
go?
past.
Right. So if we have, so a person dies, and where does that energy go? And maybe the lifetime of negative energy, where does that energy go? Maybe
see.
it's a well somewhere that just is evil. So the evil, again, I don't believe in the devil, but I do believe in the accumulation of negative energy, and there is a well of negative energy.
And one quick last question.
Sure.
Does the accumulation of this negative energy equate to evil?
I think, I don't know. I kind of feel like it can maybe, I don't know. I don't know if it's I don't have an answer to that. Maybe it'll evolve as
Well, cool.
time goes on.
Thank you for your honesty on that one.
Yeah.
Not just kind of blow some smoke.
Yeah.
Sir, would you
Okay.
like to take a crack?
Turn.
I'll give it a shot.
Your name,
Steve,
Steve. Is there evil?
like pure evil.
Sure.
No,
No.
I think there are people that can be evil for whatever is going on in their life, however they were raised, born, values, all that. And they can, if they have that bad setup situation, they can definitely become evil. You know, there are definitely people out there that are extremely evil.
But they're not necessarily 100% and or the source of evil.
I don't think they were born that way.
So how are we born then? Are we born in a neutral state? Are we born more inclined to one or the other?
No, I would say neutral.
Neutral. And so is
In a perfect world, you know, but then who were you born to? Where were you born? What country?
so circumstances will
family.
dictate what.
Financial.
Gotcha.
You know, everything has an impact.
So is evil really predicated on nurture and not anything to do with nature?
I think there's some of each.
Some of each.
You know, I'm sure there's people that were just born that have some wiring issue that are really predisposed to
Wow.
easily being pushed
Yeah.
to evilness.
So
Evil
would it
goes-
be fair to say that could evil be a manifestation of something like a mental health dilemma, a mental health illness
Sure.
in someone?
So there's probably 10 different variables that could all affect how much evil you are or can become. Right?
Wow. Cool. Thank you, sir.
And like Bush said, you got to get them evildoers.
And your name?
Melissa,
Melissa, how are you?
I'm doing okay.
Melissa, evil, does it exist?
I believe it. I like Debbie. Don't believe in the devil. Don't believe any like the organized religion kind of teachings. But I believe people have the capacity for both good and evil. And I think like generational trauma can cause some people to act on that evil or like that darker side of themselves. I think everyone has a capacity for both. It's what you kind of like choose.
So are you with Steve when the whole
he's-
kind of the how you're brought up or your life's experiences kind of lead you
Yes
in one
and no.
way or
I
another?
think it is nature and it is nurture, because there are people that are brought up in a loving household and they turn into an evil, like a
Serial killer or something, yeah.
a serial killer, mass shooter, whatever. I believe people can, I don't know that there's anyone who's just has no redeemable qualities. It's what they choose to focus on.
So even those people who manifest the worst of the evils have something redemptive in them.
I'd like to think so. I think I'm an eternal optimist, but
Shooting for the underdog, huh?
yeah. I always try to look at I always try to be grateful and look at the bright side of things and take people for where they are, but Yeah, you look at things, how things are going in our country right now, and it's like, you wonder, does good have a shot anymore? I'm hoping.
Cool. Well, thank you very much for your answers.
You're welcome.
It's so fun.
We're talking to Sven again, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so our question now is, do you think that evil is real?
Yes, yeah. So when we both were driving here, I think we were talking about evil things like, I do not want to see the news anymore. Sometimes there's so much war and there's not a lot of good things.
War as a concept, you're saying, is evil. So what is the root of that? Where does that come from?
The root?
Yeah, where is that
right.
come from?
That's maybe having power over others, money, something like this. So sometimes you have to defend yourself. I understand that, and that's not a bad thing.
Right.
But I think there is some root cause, which is having power, having more influence, and something like this.
So do you think there's anything we could do about it, or how do we respond as people without the power?
It's not easy. Let's say we can behave different. It's, I think, the best we can do. Yeah.
Okay. On our micro level, on our
you're right.
level. So how else? So war clearly is something that you feel very strongly about. Are there other signs that evil is real out there?
Turn on the news.
Okay, so we're back to Bob. So Bob says turn on the news. And so
you see it every day, all the things that go on.
So give me some specifics of what you say are
crimes and murder and war, like everything you see in the news every day.
Okay, so can evil be like, here we are, we're 5 hopefully ordinary people, though I'm looking at you. It's so you wouldn't say it's within like this group of 5 here, but you're saying it's a much larger thing. Is that what I'm hearing from you, or do you think it could be at smaller?
I still question myself every day and how we have countries of adults leading countries, and we still have war and things like this. Like,
right.
We can't, solve this in logical means. Like.
So you're both talking like that evil is big. Is there small versions of this as well?
Like what you see in the news all the time, like murder and what we had here in Newtown not that long ago.
Yeah, that's true.
It's about choices that we people, individuals make. Because our individual selves kind of make up a small group that can grow into a larger group and things like that. So it's about what's in our hearts, what's on our minds.
Do you ever feel like you are culpable for any of the evil? I mean, obviously, no one here looks like a warmonger, but is there a micro version of this or a personal level version of this?
I think it can be, but again, I just feel like it comes down to choices that a person makes, right or wrong, good and bad, up and down, you know what I mean?
And are we supposed to have any kind of accountability for this? Or do you think that these small things don't matter, or do you think they do matter?
They matter.
So what do we do as people who are responsible for our own behavior? How are we supposed to address? What is our next step? I mean, obviously we can't do much about these overarching evils, but like you said, we're making choices. What can we do about this?
I think it's to a child, or in a child, it's training that comes from the adult. Their parents, their teachers, and things like that. And you hope that you have put in good, positive things to that child, so when they grow up and become an adult, that they are remembering what was taught. And so in those seats.
So train up a child in the way they should go, and they will not depart from it.
And even if they do depart, that seed is still there.
I cannot agree with you more. Thank you. I love that. Thank you. So would you like to add to this?
Okay, so I think some of that has to do with whatever your worldview is.
For sure.
So
what's your worldview?
So I'm someone that's more on a spiritual path in my life. So I see the earth as earth school.
Okay.
So that our souls come here with a contract to learn something in this 3D kind of adventure. Nobody else gave you this info. Come on, I know you want this.
Are you kidding? I love this. This is outrageous.
So, problem is we don't understand once we get here what we're supposed to learn. So we don't understand okay, the last time we screwed up in our last life, we now need to learn this thing. But we kind of have to go through the process and see if we can become a better person, because it's really all about love and forgiveness and empathy and compassion and being the best human that we can be.
How you doing there?
I'm awesome.
Oh, you're so
Bob
sweet.
said.
Oh my gosh, it's adorable.
If then you have a big picture of evil in the world, then it doesn't really affect you as a person, because everybody has their soul journey and everybody has to learn the one thing. But if you believe in a divine presence, eventually the world will not explode. Everything will happen in a controlled way so that people can learn the right thing. And people say Hitler, the evil that he had in the world, he's in a room somewhere often, watching videos of all the things he did so he can learn what he did
So
wrong.
he doesn't get to come back and live
because
as a
he's screwed up
grasshopper?
too big, and he has to stay in a room. Beverly Hills used to lock people in, they have to lock him in. He doesn't get to come back. But the rest of us who maybe weren't as brutal or something, we can continue to come back and be the best version of ourselves.
Okay, so this brings me back full circle. So we're talking about there's big evils and that people in power, at least in part, are responsible for. Are they're not as far in the journey, or are they just susceptible?
Yeah, they've apparently taken the wrong turn.
Okay, but they're not as bad as Hitler, or?
Well, they could be.
They could be.
There's certainly been a lot of
They're going to end up in a
atrocities
locked room watching videos
right next
too?
to them. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. They ain't coming back.
Okay.
Which is bad for the rest of us because we have to experience, but maybe that's part of our journey, that we have to experience the heartbreak and the pain so that we can get to a better place. So that we can come back in our next lifetime.
So you see some value in the struggle?
Absolutely. I think that's the whole process.
So can you be thankful for that?
Sure.
Awesome. That's very strong. You've been an absolute delight.
And we are back. Liz, how's life?
I can't say I haven't been not unwell. How are you?
Can't say I haven't been
Well, I don't get it.
If that's a song, I was going to say by Pink or something like that.
Yes.
But isn't that the female way to go around it? Confuse the husbands.
See, I already wasted 4 minutes of airtime. That's awesome.
We have 1 minute left. And to the left of me, we have the Steward of Souls.
No.
Yes.
Absolutely not.
All right.
I will not,
Mark.
I will not steward any souls. That's God's job.
No, God's job is to save the souls. To steward them, though. You're leading them to God.
No, I'm not taking it.
It's like a shepherd's job.
Then call it a shepherd's job, but not
then
a steward of
pastoring,
souls.
shepherding,
The shepherd of shoals.
The shepherd of shoals. That sounds like I'm shepherding demons. Man.
We had a very theological question tonight. We asked people, is evil real? And I think we all expected our wonderful Connecticut tribe to respond with the basic idea that evil exists in people and would not make any connection to an external force. And I think all of us had that
That was a pretty bulletproof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We know our state real well.
We know our state.
Again, it doesn't mean that the responses were not without thought. I talked to Chris. He believes that, he said, of course, evil exists. It's part of human nature. And when I pressed him a little bit, where did that evil nature comes from? And basically, it's a choice to be evil. And I thought it was interesting. And Jesus agreed that evil is whatever's not for the common good. And when I pressed him a little bit, who determines that? And he said the majority. And then I said, well, what about
cannibalism?
Well, yeah. And then child sacrifices.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because Chris knew that it's a trap. So he said, no, to be consistent, yes. Child sacrifices, if the majority rule that, that's morally acceptable. In other words, he knew it wasn't because it would be a bigger question he would have to answer. But he was honest. So I appreciate that. So the evil is based on societal norms and evil comes within was my response. What say you guys?
What I thought was interesting
is to a person, we were using the word evil as a noun. Almost every single person that we talked to used it as an adjective. This person can behave evil. Not that evil was a thing, but it was a way to describe somebody.
That is true.
And listening to all three of us talk, we always used it as a noun, all three of us.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty consistently, that wasn't what we got back.
It was more, so everyone thought it was more of like a trait.
Yeah, it was a
people
trait
have.
rather than, so there's a, yeah. So like Susie, well, let me start with Sven. He says, well, yes, evil, you can see it in war, and that's brought about by power and money. And we people down here don't even really have any influence on that. And then Bob says, there's pay attention to the news, all these evil things that are happening, again, using it as an adjective, all these politicians and all these wars and riots and everything else that he was pointing out. But he was definitely using it. Not that evil was making something happen, but these things had an evil quality to them. And Susie says it comes down to choices. She talked about choice a lot, which very, very good, because I wasn't hearing really choice with Sven or Bob. And she says, I'm very spiritual and that we're here in Earth School.
And the universe is our teacher.
The universe is our teacher. But the universe knows who's really, really bad and puts them in a room by themselves.
And they watch a video of their life.
And they're never allowed to come back. But all the people who are on a lesser portion of evil get to try again.
Well,
but I guess if you
let's
reach
define
a
that
10,
evil, though. It was the Hitler evil.
Hitler evil.
Yeah.
There was
Hitler's
no
not
other
coming
one,
back.
no one else mentioned, but I'm sure maybe there's other people. But so I guess it's like if you go to the county fair and you hit the thing to make the bell ring, that not too many people made the bell ring. Hitler
rang the bell.
has a ring, he rang it and he has a room by himself. And so she had definitely this whole sense of everyone else was not partaking in that. They weren't as evil. And then finally Trish, who was one of the 4 people there, she had a whole different spin on it. And I think she was being a little cagey because she was trying to hide scripture, but she was still trying to quote it, which I thought was kind of interesting. I said, you mean train up a child the way he should go? And she goes, yes, that's what I thought it was interesting that I don't know if because I don't think these 4 people knew each other very, very well. I think it was like a work related thing. And so she might have been just a little cagey because she didn't know Sven, Bob, or Susie. And I don't think anyone knew their actual names.
Right, and
it was interesting.
What about you, Dennis?
The folks I chatted with, I think Liz hit the mark when she said it. Evil is used as an adjective to describe someone and not as a noun. 2 of the people I spoke to, I believe it was Debbie and Melissa, they don't believe in the devil as an evil entity, but they do believe in this idea of nature and nurture. So we are kind of born with both evil and good, and depending on how we're raised, we'll bring out the evil or bring out the good. And some people have a propensity towards more evil, some people have a propensity towards more good, but there's no real driving force. It's just kind of very subjective, and whatever be will be, that type of thing.
I do think really interesting, without a real Christian perspective, can you really define evil? And we've seen people struggle. So how would you guys describe what evil is? Because I mean, it can take lots of different forms. I asked Rock, what is evil? Then I asked, what's the Christian definition of evil? Evil is a concept describing profound immorality, wickedness, or action that causes significant harm, suffering, or destruction. You good with that?
Sure.
And in Christianity, evil is generally understood as rebellion against God's will, manifesting as sin, suffering, or moral corruption.
Sure.
Yep.
So based on that, I guess, and getting a little theological with this, would there be evil without Satan?
I'm going to say no, because in creation, it was all good until there was a rebellion in heaven. Satan was cast out, and then the temptation came. So without Satan, there would be no temptation towards a disobedience to God.
Satan didn't make Eve say what she did in the Garden of Eden.
Say or do.
Or do.
Well, he tempted her to do.
Tempting, but
yes.
Don't you think God can allow Satan to do things like that to strengthen us? Don't you think God can use Satan for good?
Sure. The book of Job.
Right. If Satan wasn't there tempting, could the other person have tempted Eve? Is it possible? Or
so you're asking if Adam could have tempted Eve?
Or could her own self-will, which we know our will, I don't think Satan's in any of us, and we can have some evil thoughts at times. We can have negative thoughts. It's not necessarily Satan. It's our own will. I'm curious curious whether...
Well, the will is the fallen aspect of our soul.
Right, but it's not because Satan fell, it's because we fell.
Well, we fell because of the temptation of evil. I heard one pastor say that we are handcuffed by evil, but the handcuffs are pure gold and they look good. We just want to wear them all the time.
Right, but there's still, we have free will.
We do.
So free will to do what? Good or good? Free will to do...
So did free will... So we've always had free will, but we weren't tempted with evil until evil manifested itself.
Well, I don't know. I
do.
I would think that if we have free will, that means we could choose good or we could choose evil. And if we chose good all the time, we don't need Jesus.
But we weren't to eat off the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. So we had no knowledge of good or evil. We were in this neutral goodness state when it was delineated good to evil, with the disobedience being the evil and obedience to God being the good. That's when we chose differently.
Chose is the correct word. Yeah, we made a choice.
Yeah,
but we were presented with a choice.
Yeah, and I think that's what free will's about.
But before that, if we don't have a choice, we can't pick evil. We're just in this state.
And then we're robots.
Amen.
And then
life will be much easier.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember the comedian from the 60s who always said, the devil made me do it.
Yeah, it was Flip Wilson.
I couldn't get out quick enough.
And I think difficult time saying that we would be pure as the driven snow if it wasn't for Satan. We were created for free will. And like Mark said, not a choice between good and good, but between right and wrong. And there's so much scripture that points to the fact that we do have reprobate hearts. And it doesn't say
the heart is desperately wicked. Who could know it?
Who could know it?
Yeah.
But that's not the way we were created.
But here we are. We're not going around. We're not just like surrounded by this, invisible cloud of demons who are like, okay, now we're really going to trip them up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we trip ourselves up.
We're doing that pretty good darn job on our own because we're
fallen, but we weren't created fallen. That's without the introduction of a temptation, there is no temptation.
Right. And I think this is an interesting argument and discussion. And I would just go back to say, correct. But if we didn't have any free will, we have free will to do what?
Yeah. When you bring up the tree, and it's my thought, I have no backup other than the goodness of God, that the tree was going to be available to them at some point, but they were mentally children. God is not going to be putting this tree in there and say, yeah, never, never, never. I'm just this mean God. It was going to be available, but it was meant to be there as a reminder of what their future is, not what their now is.
Right. I mean, I don't have pride in my heart. I know you guys might struggle with that, but
I struggle with arrogance.
I struggle with both your pride and
but my point is, and when I get prideful, I don't believe it's Satan. I mean, Satan could be tugging me in that direction, but I think I do a good enough job of my own without Satan needing to nudge me.
Well, there's a nature, sin nature.
But our human nature, that God created, our human nature with free will. He created angels who are different than humans, and I think we have different purposes. And I think he wanted us to show his love to us as unconditional love. And how can it's easy to unconditional someone who is always loving you. It's a lot more difficult to love someone like me.
True that.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's a good discussion.
It's an interesting discussion.
I do know at the end that the good news is at the end, because at the end in Revelation, Satan's bound up, and depending on what you believe, if he's being tortured, but he's not allowed to affect us. There'll be no weeping, no pain. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's something to really look forward to. So when evil comes to end, I guess the question is, our purified selves, once we get to heaven, won't have that evil nature either, whether Satan's there or not, because I firmly believe in heaven there will be no need to sin. There'll be no desire to sin.
So does free will go away at that point?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I don't know. It's something to reflect on, but I am old enough to know that when you get to questions like that, I am way too stupid to ever understand that, and I'm good. I'm good with not understanding that. Yeah,
I just like to check on certain people and see what they have to say.
But at the end, I'm not going to understand the Trinity. I accept it. I believe it. I'm not going to.
Wait.
Well, you didn't mention water, huh?
Oh wait. What? Oh, that's the physics teacher in you.
Well, that's still
a lot of people like that.
That's still a terrible one. But no, seriously, I do think it's an interesting question. But I also, when listening to people that are not Christian, I was just wondering, can non-Christians recognize evil without a biblical framework. Because like you were saying, Liz, they're understanding evil as something
external that they're not part of. I tried to get them to say, are we accountable for any of it? And we're not going near it.
What do you think, Des? Can non-Christians recognize evil without that biblical framework?
Yes, because it just goes back to the creation story. We are all created in the image of God. And so we all have this understanding of godliness and ungodliness inherent in us. And so people look at the Holocausts during the 1940s in Germany and how many Jews and Russians and how many people lost their lives. And that was brutal. But how many cows lose their life every year in America for food? That's not necessarily genocide or a Holocaust. And so we have this innate understanding that there is value to human beings. And when human beings are wronged in some way, there's an inherent understanding that this is right, this is wrong, this is morally evil, this is morally good. I think it's part of our DNA.
Then
now,
what's wrong with all the people that we've been talking to? Because they're very, a lot of them are very intelligent, they're very well spoken, and a lot of them are thinkers, but they don't believe what we believe.
Right, but they can recognize the evil. They just don't. And I think Liz brought up a very good point. They look at evil as the adjective, as a description of your actions, and not necessarily what initiated your action to begin with.
Right, and going back to what is that free will or is it Satan? But I guess the idea of the source of evil being Satan is almost ridiculed and laughed at today.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If someone's, oh, you believe in the devil. Yeah. Some pointy horn with a tail. That's who Satan
Red
is.
suit.
Yeah.
Pitchfork. Yeah. I wish I would have asked, do you believe in God? And I found that throughout the years, many people will believe in God, but not in the devil.
Right.
Because they've created a God in their own image, a comfortable God who doesn't demand anything, doesn't really want anything.
Doesn't judge.
Doesn't judge. Yeah.
That's a big one. You can't have a God that judges. That's no good.
That's no good.
But they're not evil, so they don't have to worry about it.
Right. I guess the last question I have, this is a deeper episode, but how do we reconcile the existence of evil with God's sovereignty and goodness? God is good. And at one level, it's a kindergarten type question. Why did God create Satan? But it is deeper. Would it be best if he didn't create Satan? He didn't create Satan to be evil. Satan chose to be evil. Yet, did he not know that? And can that benefit us in the long run?
Well, it goes to the question of, why would God create a system that would ultimately fail?
Right.
Bazillions of people. That's above my pay grade.
You're getting a t-shirt this week for that.
That's a really difficult question to answer.
No, it is. We can look at Romans 8:28. In all things, God works for the good for those who love him and who have been called according to his purpose. And as you would say in all of your sermons, the word all in Greek means all.
All.
Yeah.
Everything.
So
it's pretty inclusive.
Yeah. So if all things work for those who love him, one of those things is Satan. And I do believe that Satan is used by God. God uses Satan to get the best out of us. And
he did with Job. I think that's a classic.
I think he does with all of us.
Well, yeah, but I think it's how in Job's eyes he felt like he was a righteous guy. And even in the beginning of the book, it says that there was no one more righteous than Job, but yet God saw the need for growth and took him down a notch.
And hopefully he sees that need in all of us, and we get tested and purified through that.
Amen.
And on that note, let's have a great night, everyone. Goodbye.
Good night.
Tune in next episode when you'll hear Dennis say,
what question would that the question is going to be, what would you... I have no freaking idea.
Hey, awesome listener. If you're enjoying our podcast, give us a little love, like, share, follow, and snag this episode for later. It's the easiest way to keep the good times rolling and make our day. You're the best. Thank you.
The egg comparison doesn't work for you?